I had always played baseball instead of softball, but I didn't have my regular baseball uniform. She had packed like sweatpants and then a shirt, and it read the word sporty girl, and like it wasn't a big deal like to anyone else, but to me that was the first time I like experienced gender dysphoria, and I didn't know what it was. But that whole day I was like shaky, and I just felt wrong, and like I felt like I was lying to people. I didn't know who the hell I was, like what, because so much of my life was focused around making other people okay and happy. I hid a lot of things about myself from myself. I always was more into the things like that were typically like boys things, like sports and Star Wars and Transformers and stuff. I would always like dress like more like a boy. I would think of myself as like he or him. That wasn't something people did. When I was like 8 or 9, my cousin did this Locks for Love haircut for like this charity, and I wanted to do it too. And part of it was for the charity, but most of it was so that I could go around like with a hat and be like, oh yeah, I look like a boy. But I didn't know like what I was. I knew I wasn't a girl, like that was obvious. Like, yeah, I always knew that. But I didn't feel like a boy either, where like taught from like day one, you're either a boy or a girl, and it gets in your head. I'm gender fluid. It was kind of obvious because I had gender fluid friends, but it just didn't click until it clicked. The word trans is often used as an umbrella term for trans and non-binary genders. I usually use that word just because when you say like, oh, I'm non-binary or I'm gender fluid, people go like, what's that? If somebody hasn't experienced that, they're like, oh, okay, that doesn't exist. All right, you're just looking for attention, and it's like, no, I promise that's what it is. I promise you. My family was really homophobic and transphobic. They're not evil or anything, but they have demons inside of them. And I was like, okay. If I don't get out of this situation, I'm not gonna be alive for much longer. They always made very sure to be like, hey, you're welcome here. Anytime you wanna come live with us, we will gladly take you in. Yeah, okay, I'm coming. They were finally like, so, what are you? And I was like, hey, I'm Pan. And they were like, okay, what the heck is that? There are other genders, and you know, I can like someone no matter what their gender is. They took it like really well. They were really supportive and like, yeah, as long as you're happy, you know, whatever. I did not take it well. Even though the response was very good, I still like, I would hide in the bathroom and then turn the lights off and like have total panic attack. And I had these going for like on 2 or 3 weeks before they finally went away. I was sitting with my stepmom and I just said, hey, you know, I'm trans, right? She looked over and asked like me to tell her more about it. She was like, she completely supportive. Like I pretty much knew she would be. And then she told my dad like when he got home. I said, it's okay, I'm not changing my name. It's the same pronouns. She, her is fine, even though I was going by he, him at school. That wasn't a good time because like I felt like my very existence was like hurting the people around me. Everyone sat in the living room and was like, okay, he's going to be going by Preston now and using he, him. It went a lot smoother than I expected. Like my youngest brother, like when his friends come over and they accidentally say Rachel or whatever, he'll yell, it's not Rachel, it's Preston, and like, almost right away, like it changed, and it like felt a lot better than I thought it would. Like I expected it to feel good, but like it felt like, oh, I'm finally myself. The reaction wasn't as good. I actually expected it to be okay because she handled like the first coming out like much better than I expected, seeing as she was so against everything beforehand. There was like silence for a good 10 minutes and I was like, oh my God. And then she started crying and I was like, oh my God. She finally gave me a hug and said she accepted me and everything. A couple hours later, I got a text from her, just paragraphs and paragraphs of, please keep going by Rachel, don't do that. I've basically learned to just ignore her and not answer until she stops. 2 days later, she texted me again and was like, it's okay if you go by Preston, I love you no matter what. And then I texted her back like, okay, love you too. He forgets sometimes or like slips up, but like I can't speak for everybody, but like when you're talking to someone who's trans and like don't worry about messing up, because if you mess up, just say, oh, sorry, and then move on. Don't be afraid to mess up. And if you do mess up, don't like make a big deal about it, because that makes the person you're talking about more uncomfortable, and like it's just not necessary. Just like, oh, sorry, and then move on. You don't even have to say sorry, just like, oh, I mean him, and then move on. He's good at using my name and my pronouns, and he sees me as a person, so you know, it's been good.